Hello, this video will try to explain Unit 1 Activity 2's content. And the content for this activity has 4 different parts. So part 1 is on verbs. And so just like in Activity 1 where we introduce nouns, there'll be a brief introduction of verbs, an explanation of verb tenses, past, present, and future. And I know some of you have done English courses before where you've gone over probably all 12 of the different types of verb tenses. We're not going to try to cover all 12. We're just going to try to stick with the 3 basic tenses: past, present, and future. And so if you continue on down, there'll be a chart and some examples of the different types of tenses, again, past, present, and future. There will be a video you can watch for more detail on the 3 types, on the 3 tenses. And if you want to go further into all 12 verb tenses, there will be a blog that you can click on by Grammarly, which is a website outside of the course. And so if we take a look at this website here, they'll cover all 12 different tenses and have links for all 12, all the different present, past, and future tenses. So if you'd like to go into specific detail with verb tenses, you can take a look at that website. For our purposes, we're just trying to keep it simple. We're just trying to stick with past, present, and future. After you've gone through the material on verbs, there will be 2 practice exercises. So you'll have to identify verbs in sentences. So there will be 8 sentences, and you're asked to underline the verbs in each sentence. You'll find that sometimes the verbs are one word, sometimes the verbs might be a verb phrase and be more than one word. For example, as you'll find out up here, future tense will always be at least a 2-word verb phrase, because the word will always be there in future tense. So keep in mind when you're looking to identify verbs, sometimes you're looking for 1 word, sometimes you might be looking for 2 or maybe even 3 words in a verb phrase. Once you've gone through the 8 sentences, you can click, as always, on the answers and see how you did. The second practice exercise for verbs is going to ask you to go through paragraphs. So there'll be 3 paragraphs here, and you're going to be asked to underline the verbs inside the paragraphs. Again, you can click on answers afterwards to make sure that you've identified all of the verbs. If you have any trouble with verbs, please let me know. We're just practicing all of the parts of speech in Unit 1. There are no assignments dedicated to the parts of speech, but we're going to start every activity in Unit 1 with at least one of the parts of speech so that we can become get a better grasp of English and a better understanding of the language. So when we're done with verbs, we'll move down to part 2 of the activity, and this is writing strategies. And so we'll talk about what it means to become a good writer, and we'll talk about how there are strategies that you need to apply when you are, before you write, during your writing, and after your writing. So throughout the whole process of writing an assignment or writing anything, there are strategies and steps that you can take to be more successful. So we'll first start with before writing. Before you write something, you can try to brainstorm, you can try to develop your ideas. You don't want to try to sit down and write something cold without having put some thought into it ahead of time. And so one of the ways that you can kind of brainstorm and kind of jot down your ideas is using a mind map. And there's 2 mind map software programs here. One's called Mind Maps and one's called MindMeister. And so if you like, you can try either one of those and see if you can put together mind maps before you write out your assignments. So you just kind of jot down your ideas. So if you're writing an assignment on getting a job, you would jot down different ideas or different main points that relate to getting a job. So for example, benefits. When you're applying for a job, you'd like to know if there are benefits, and then you can jot down the different benefits that you can get from that job. So the obvious would be money, skills, etc. And so then you would put another point in this box, and then you kind of branch out and make that and come up with subpoints. And so the idea with mind mapping is just jotting your ideas down and getting everything on paper before you try to actually write your assignment. Again, if you're interested, you can just do that on paper before you write an assignment, or you can use one of these software programs and give them a try. If you have any questions about mind mapping, or if you have any trouble with these programs, for example, MindMeister here, if you want to try it, both of these programs are free, by the way. But if you want to try MindMeister here, you'll see that you can just, I've logged in on Google here, by the way. If you're logged into your My Tools to Go, it'll automatically jump right in, and you can see my, this is my Google icon, or my Tools to Go, so to speak, icon. And then you can just click on a template. Oops. And you can start your own mind map. And so, for example, your assignment in this activity, and we'll get to that in another video, is going to be on your favorite travel destination. And so say I was writing my favorite travel destination was New York, hypothetically. I can put that in the middle, and then I can just add offshoots here using the mind map and list all of my reasons for why I think New York's a great place to visit. So here I could put, whoops, here I could put historical sites, and then I can list off historical sites, and then I could create another point, restaurants and all the different things I would like about New York, and I could just create my own mind map here, jotting down all of my ideas before I actually have to write an assignment. So mind mapping or brainstorming is just an idea to get you started writing. During writing, so when you're actually doing the writing, you're going to take your ideas from the brainstorming and from your mind mapping, and you're going to try to organize them. And the 2 points I'd like to point out here are main idea and supporting details. Whenever you write anything, you want to know what is your main idea and what are the supporting details that support that main idea. So that's what you're trying to identify during writing, is when you're actually sitting down and writing out the assignment, you have to know your main idea and supporting details, and then start putting those, the main idea and the supporting details, into complete sentences. After you've written out your assignment, there are still some things you can do. You can revise and edit. So when we say revise, we're talking about trying to improve the language of your assignment, trying to make sure that everything is clear and that your points are as well developed as they possibly can be. So you're dealing with the content of your assignment, and editing is dealing with the spelling and the grammar and making sure that you don't have any errors. So these are just 6 questions that you can ask yourself after you've finished a writing assignment to make sure that you've done it correctly, and to make sure it's the best it can be before you, say, submit it to your teacher. One thing you can do is you can use a technique called reading backwards, and this document here just lists 4 steps here on how you can kind of proofread your own work without a partner. How you can, if you don't have someone at home that can help you or that can look over your work, and since we're not generally meeting in class in this course, you don't have a classmate that you can share your work with, you can proofread without partners and try this technique of reading backwards to proofread your own work. Give it a try. It works for some people maybe not, but it's just an idea on how you can maybe check your own work. And now we move down to part 3. And this is probably the most important part of this activity because you're going to have to write me a paragraph in your assignment in this activity. So part 3 is going to go over paragraph writing. And we're going to talk about the different parts of a paragraph, topic sentence, body sentences, concluding sentence. Every paragraph, no matter what you're writing about, is going to include those different parts, so it's very important that you understand them. Your main idea always goes in the topic sentence. It's always summarized in your concluding sentence, and in the middle, in the body sentences, is where you put your supporting details. Some of you might have seen the paragraph hamburger before, but it just reminds you that a paragraph is kind of like a hamburger. The buns are kind of the same idea. It's the main idea at the top and the main idea at the bottom, just in slightly different words. And all the meat and veggies and all the good stuff in the middle, that's the supporting details. So this is just a way of kind of visualizing what a paragraph is like. We've got a sample paragraph here, and if you roll over the different parts here, it will tell you what each sentence is accomplishing. So for example, this is your topic sentence, this is your concluding sentences, and in the middle you'll find body sentences. So this is a basic little paragraph you can use as an example when you're writing your own paragraph. Your own paragraph should have this same structure. Transition words is something else that should be included in a paragraph. You can always include transition words in the body sentences, things like first, second, finally, or third, when you're establishing each of your points. When you mention examples, you can say things like for example. And then, of course, in the concluding sentence, you can use words like therefore or in conclusion. Transition words are nice because they help join the paragraph together or the sentences together, and it helps link your ideas and your examples. What else do we have? We have some practice here. So they're going to give you 2 paragraphs that ask you which one is better written. They're both on the same topic and make the same points, but one of them has a much better structure and is a much better paragraph. And they'll tell you which one down here. But see if you can figure out on your own before you take a look. Lastly, we've got some paragraph tools. If you'd like some more detail, you can take a look at how to write a good paragraph and a paragraph outline. And you can use this paragraph outline when you're writing your own paragraphs. You can fill it in to make sure that you're including all of the different parts of the paragraph. And we'll actually take a look at that when we do our paragraph assignment in the next video I'll make. And then lastly, once you're comfortable with a paragraph, we just need to make a point to talk briefly about plagiarism. And plagiarism just means making sure you're not using someone else's words in your own writing. In this course, there is no need to use anybody else's words or anybody else's research. Everything I'm going to ask you to do can be done right on the website. You don't need to go find more information. And so this is just a reminder about the things that you don't want to do. You don't want to copy from books. You don't want to use another student's assignment. Keep in mind that I can't grade work that you submit that's not written in your own words. So this is just a reminder of what plagiarism is and how we want to avoid it. And then there's a kind of a silly little video here you can take a look at about plagiarism if you'd like a little bit more detail. And that's it for the content. As it'll always say at the bottom of the content page, you have now completed the content. Click on the assignment link at the top or bottom of the web page to proceed to the assignment. And of course, that link is right here. You can click on assignment and go right to the assignment. I hope that helped. If you have any questions about any of the material in this content on this content page, please let me know.